Hey guys, your host Thomas Tyree here from On the Hot Podcast. Today, this will be episode 187 for you guys today. Happy holidays to everybody that celebrates the holidays around this time of the year, whether you celebrate Christmas, Hanukkah, Kwanzaa. Happy holidays to everybody out there. This will be a jam-packed, all-out football episode for you guys. To kick off the episode, I'll be sharing my Christmas game day predictions in the NFL world. So we got two games that are slated to take place tomorrow in the NFL on the Christmas Day schedule. Starting off the first game, the Kansas City Chiefs will go on the road to play the Pittsburgh Steelers, of which should be a highly anticipated AFC matchup tomorrow on Christmas Day. So both teams, the Chiefs and the Steelers, have already clinched the playoff spots in the AFC Conference. Both of these respective teams are at this point, they're jockeying for position to get better seeding for the AFC playoffs once the NFL regular season ends in the next 2 weeks. So what could happen tomorrow in this game? If the Kansas City Chiefs defeat the Pittsburgh Steelers, they would automatically lock up the number one seed in the AFC, and the road to the Super Bowl would travel through Kansas City, through Arrowhead Stadium, a place where a lot of AFC teams don't have a lot of success in the playoffs. The only guy to beat Patrick Mahomes and Arrowhead in the playoffs has been Thomas Edward Patrick Brady. So the Chiefs can have the road to the Super Bowl travel in the AFC through Kansas City with a victory. The Steelers, if they want to win this, not only do they want to win this game, but win the AFC North Division, the Steelers need to control their own destiny. They need to lock up, if they want to lock up the AFC North, they got to beat the Steelers. They got to beat the Chiefs, and they got to win out with help. If the Steelers lose to the Chiefs and they beat the Bengals, they don't control their own destiny. So that would mean if the Steelers lose this game but beat the Bengals, the Ravens would control their own destiny and win the AFC North by winning their last two games. I'll get to that in a few moments when I cover the Ravens and Texans game. But bottom line is, for the Pittsburgh Steelers, they got to do their job. They got to do whatever it takes to win, taking care of business against the Chiefs and the Bengals to lock up this AFC North division that is still up for grabs between themselves and the Ravens. So these are my blueprints to victory for this respective game. Starting off with the Pittsburgh Steelers here. If they want to win this game tomorrow on Christmas Day, have the Pittsburgh fans send them home happy with an extra Christmas gift, defeating the reigning defending Super Bowl champions of the Kansas City Chiefs. Number one, they got the pass rush. You got to get it home to Patrick Mahomes. And we all know that Patrick Mahomes is not 100% at this time, and Patrick Mahomes is nursing an ankle injury right now. Yes, he scrambled for a touchdown Saturday against the Houston Texans, but that guy is not 100%. And what better way to get Patrick Mahomes off his rhythm, off his game plan, by disrupting him in the pocket with the pass rushers of T.J. Watt and Cam Hayward and company getting home to Patrick Mahomes while he's in the pocket. If you disrupt him in the pocket, he's not going to be able to move around as comfortably as he would like to. You get him on the ground, that sends a message to him and the offensive line for the entire game. So the Pittsburgh Steelers should do their job getting home to Patrick Mahomes, and the pass rush needs to be there and be playing well and be very alive for the Pittsburgh Steelers if they want to have a chance of beating the Kansas City Chiefs. Now, next, they got to get the passing game going. And good news for the Pittsburgh Steelers, they're going to have their number one wide receiver back, George Pickens, who has missed some time in the last few weeks due to an injury. But George Pickens gives life back to this Pittsburgh Steelers offense, especially in the passing game, because the pass catching options for Russell Wilson has not been dynamic, or they haven't been as explosive passing the football since George Pickens has been out the last two games with the injury. And when George Pickens is actually in the lineup, I believe, if I'm wrong, I apologize on the stat, but the Pittsburgh Steelers are 8-1 with George Pickens in the lineup. So they get a lot of success when he's in the game for the Pittsburgh Steelers. So if George Pickens is back in the game, this could open up the offense for Arthur Smith to be selected passing the ball and doing what he does best, which is running the football with Najee Harris and company. And they definitely got to get the offense going, either passing or running the football, because they have not scored 20 points in their last two ball games, and they played some caliber NFL playoff teams, that being the Philadelphia Eagles. You didn't score 20 points against them. That being against the Baltimore Ravens, you didn't score 20 points against them. So you can't go out in there half-assing it on offense if you're the Pittsburgh Steelers against this Kansas City Chiefs team. You got to be firing on all cylinders, whether it's passing the ball, running the ball. George Pickens being there for Russell Wilson, Mr. Unlimited, would really help them in their case of beating the Kansas City Chiefs tomorrow. But those are the blueprints to beating the Kansas City Chiefs. Now, but the blueprints for victory for the Kansas City Chiefs, if they want to knock off the Pittsburgh Steelers, they got to lean on Patrick Mahomes. Now, Patrick Mahomes, even though he's not 100%, he could go out there and still give you his all every single time he steps foot on the field. It's like he's faking the injury, but he's not. Like I just said a few moments ago, he did rush for a touchdown against the Houston Texans last week. So he can still move, he can still scramble, but he's not 100% on that ankle injury. So with protection in the pocket, the offensive line has to really help out Patrick Mahomes to give him time in the pocket, for Patrick Mahomes to go through his read progressions and fire the ball down the field to his pass catchers like Travis Kelce, DeAndre Hopkins, Xavier Worthy. The offensive line has to protect Patrick Mahomes so he can do his job, so they can move the ball down the field comfortably passing the ball. And the Steelers secondary is looking very lackluster in my opinion. They don't look good. The front seven for the Pittsburgh Steelers defense, yes, is phenomenal, but the secondary is very suspect, and they just allowed Lamar Jackson to throw 3 passing touchdowns on them when they were on the road in Baltimore on Saturday night. So I think Patrick Mahomes could have a similar successful game. I don't know if he could throw 3 passing touchdowns, but he can have a successful game with pass protection in the pocket if the offensive line does their job, does a good job pass blocking with Patrick Mahomes setting up time in the pocket to throw and deliver the ball to his pass catching options. Now, last but not least, I think the Kansas City Chiefs got to run the football. Now, they got a good thing going for the playoffs in 2 weeks. They got a 1-2 punch at the running back position now with Isaiah Pacheco and Kareem Hunt. They brought in Kareem Hunt when Isaiah Pacheco had a broken fibula earlier in the season. Well, now Isaiah Pacheco is back in the lineup. Now you got a 1-2 punch with Isaiah Pacheco and Kareem Hunt in the backfield. And they can lean on the running game to take the pressure off of Patrick Mahomes, which I keep saying he's not 100%. Take the pressure off of him, get the running game going as well. When the passing game and the running game is going, that opens the playbook for Andy Reid and company to go with play action looks, which Patrick Mahomes, in my opinion, is one of the best play action quarterbacks in the National Football League. So if they could do those things, I think they have a good chance of beating the Pittsburgh Steelers on Christmas Day. But with that being said, I'm going to go with the Kansas City Chiefs to defeat the Pittsburgh Steelers on Christmas. I think they're going to be motivated to get this victory, knowing that if they win this game, they get the number 1 seed in the AFC, and the road to the Super Bowl would have to travel through Kansas City and the AFC side. So I think they're going to come in to Pittsburgh and deliver and get a victory. A short week doesn't matter for the Kansas City Chiefs, and the Steelers are in this predicament as well because they played on Saturday as well. But Pittsburgh, the Steelers just look concerning in their last 2 games when they played against playoff caliber teams in the Philadelphia Eagles and the Baltimore Ravens. They didn't score 20 points against those respective opponents. I just don't have much faith in them in this game against the Kansas City Chiefs. I think the Kansas City Chiefs will control the offensive side of the game. They're gonna be able to pass the ball. I do believe with Patrick Mahomes getting the ball to his pass catchers of Travis Kelce, DeAndre Hopkins, Xavier Worthy. I just saw Lamar Jackson pick apart the Pittsburgh Steelers secondary when he threw 3 passing touchdowns at the victory last week. So with the Steelers not really looking good offensively, and I know they get George Pickens back, but I think they could take him out of the game. They don't look good, and I just don't have confidence in them. So they're going to blow their chances of controlling their own destiny to win the AFC North, and I do believe that the Kansas City Chiefs will win and lock up the number 1 seed in the AFC. Now, to the final game on the Christmas slate, you have the Baltimore Ravens going on the road to play the Houston Texans. Now, this game will be on Netflix. It's going to be interesting how this plays out. But both teams are in the playoffs, just like the Steelers and the Chiefs. The Ravens and the Texans are in the playoffs, but the Texans are already going to host a playoff game by them winning the AFC South already. It just comes down to clinching of how this division, how the AFC is going to play out. The Baltimore Ravens are in, but they're not division champions just yet. Or they might not. But both of these teams are going to be jockeying for higher positions in the AFC. If the Ravens win out, defeat the Texans and the Browns in the last 2 games, they will win the AFC North if the Steelers don't win out. But if the Steelers go 1-1 or 1-2 and their last 2 games where they have to play the Chiefs and the Bengals, and the Ravens do their job and win out, they win the AFC North. So the Ravens do need help. They need the Steelers to lose against the Chiefs or the Bengals, but in reality, they control their own destiny if they just do their part and win their next 2 games. So I think this will be a very important Christmas game for both the Ravens and the Texans in this game. Now, the blueprints for victory starting off the Houston Texans, they got to play consistent all 4 quarters. Now, even though the Houston Texans are a 9-6 football team, one of the biggest problems and one of the reasons why they're not as good as a football team as what they were last year is they fade away in the second half of ball games, and that is costing them in the win-loss column this year. And they lose momentum in the second half. They tend to fade away. They fail to capitalize on opportunities that present itself for their own sake. And penalties also get in the way with the Houston Texans falling apart in the second half in ball games. So they can't do that against a caliber Baltimore Ravens team, one of the best teams that the AFC has to offer. You got to play calm, cool, and collected for all 4 quarters, play mistake-free football, and finish in the second half in order for you guys to have a chance to defeat the Ravens on Christmas. So now, last but not least, CJ Stroud's got to show up to the plate. Now, CJ Stroud has regressed from the quarterback that he looked like in his rookie season. A lot of that has to do with his pass catchers, Tank Dell and Stephon Diggs being hurt and injured. And both of those guys are out of the lineup for the remainder of the NFL season, unfortunately. Prayers up to Tank Dell, who has to have multiple knee surgeries for that catch that he had against the Chiefs on Saturday, but went down with an injury. But I need that CJ Stroud to overcome adversity. No matter who's out of the lineup, I need that CJ Stroud that looked like a phenomenal rookie quarterback that a lot of people said that he looked like a top 5 quarterback last year in his rookie season. I needed him to overcome the odds. And he's playing against a Baltimore Ravens defense that, yeah, they looked a little better over the last few weeks, but they are still a unit that is not good against the pass. So I need CJ Stroud to come to play, and ball out with the offensive weapons that he does still have. I mean, he still has Nico Collins, Dalton Schultz at the tight end position. He's got to overcome that and put on the Superman cape and play well for all 4 quarters if the Texans want a chance of beating the Baltimore Ravens. Now, with the Ravens, they got to let Lamar Jackson cook. I mean, Lamar Jackson could be on his way to winning his 3rd MVP award. MV3 is still in the running and still in the conversation. It's a neck-and-neck race between him and Josh Allen. But the Ravens, Todd Monken calling the play, should let the offense flow through Lamar Jackson in this game. Get the RPO game going, the play action going. Once you get the RPO game going and the play action going, you fake it, handing it off to Derrick Henry. That leaves so many wide open pass catchers like Zay Flowers, Rashad Bateman, Mark Andrews wide open for the taking, and then that's how the Ravens have had success. That's how Lamar Jackson has had over 35 passing touchdowns, opening up the playbook because you're so afraid that Derrick Henry can run the ball down your throat, which leads me to the next blueprint. Offense needs to wear down this Houston Texans defense. Now, the Texans have a really good they have a really good defense, but if the Ravens can control the clock and do their job offensively, this wears down the Houston Texans defense. This also plays keep away from CJ Stroud, keeping the Houston Texans offense on the sidelines. And that can force them to have to air it out when they're trailing the ball game, because you can easily control the clock, control the pace of the game, passing the ball with Lamar Jackson, running the ball with Derrick Henry, tiring out the Houston Texans defense. And that's how you can control the pace of the game. By keeping the Houston Texans offense on the sidelines, putting up points every single time, whether it's a field goal or a touchdown, cashing in on opportunities and drives. I think if the Ravens do that, they have a good chance of beating the Texans. But with that being said, give me the Ravens to win this game against the Texans. I think this could be a close game, but I do believe that the Ravens are going to beat the Texans on the road for Christmas Day. And I think they have that spark, that energy of they could possibly control their own pace with some help, control their own destiny. Because if they beat the Texans and the Browns and the Steelers go 1-1 in their last 2 games, the Ravens would win the AFC North. So I think the Ravens are motivated to do their job. I just think that the Baltimore Ravens, the offense of Lamar Jackson, Derrick Henry, will control the pace of the game, whether it's passing the ball, running the football. I think they're going to wear out this Houston Texans defense. Plus, I don't have much confidence right now in CJ Stroud and the Houston Texans to pull this off, because not only they're now missing Tank Dell, but they lack offensive weapons in the pass catching department. And if the Lamar Jackson, the Baltimore Ravens continue to pile up points and they go down by 2 scores, you're not going to run the football with Joe Mixon. You're just going to have to air it out. And I just don't think they got the offensive weapons to air it out and go toe-to-toe in a possible shootout situation with the Baltimore Ravens. So give me the Ravens to win this game, and give me the Chiefs to defeat the Steelers. So those are my 2 Christmas game day predictions for tomorrow in the NFL.